Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sir, uh, welcome back to the next session in this podcast, sir, on the organization development. I would like to briefly summarize the encouraging feedbacks that we have received on the previous session we had. Most of the comments are now very encouraging, mentioning that the discussions that we had was very timely and many of the points that we discussed, uh, the academic fraternity across the country feel that they're highly relevant at this point of time. And so, in that direction, of course, generally, the other sense I also got is still they are thinking from a point of if there is a good head of the institution, things will fall in place, or you get some senior professors or retired bureaucrats and make them to lead the institute or organization, they will take care. What I personally felt was from their comments, they're still missing a crucial link of what is called organization development, which is very, very crucial because when I interacted closely with you, then only I came to know the difference. Even I broached that question in the previous, leader and the organization development. You mentioned, no, we don't emphasize on the leader, we emphasize on the leadership. That's what you mentioned briefly there. But I thought, no, in this session, we will try to give some more elements related to organization development approach. So that is where, sir, I would like to um, request you to tell about what is this organization development is about.
Thank you, Professor Prasanna. It's a pleasure to again continue this discussion with you. See, organization development has many flavors. Like, dosa has many flavors depending on the region. So, depending upon which organization conducts it or which group. So, I am part of this management innovations. So, in our approach, we look at various aspects of the organization to transform it into an extraordinary organization. By extraordinary organization, what we mean is an organization where all the stakeholders bring their brain, heart, and soul in total to the organization. And the organization itself is a positive impact on society. See, today, if you look at what I mean by that is today, many organizations, maybe a pharmaceutical organization or some other this thing, they do whatever they want to make money, and then like a prayachita, you give 2% to CSR, which will may have a positive impact on the society. So what we mean is that whatever the organization does is a positive impact on the society. And then the other thing is the organization is always future ready. So
Hmm.
these are the three aspects where everybody brings their heart, soul, and brain, and it's a positive impact on the society. And the organization always future ready. This is what we mean. And also, we transform the organization as a whole from ego thinking to eco thinking.
Sir,
This
taking
is in
cues
short.
from, thank you very much, sir. The taking cues from the points that you mentioned, uh, I want you to elaborate on no bringing heart, head, heart, and soul to the organization, sir. I request you to elaborate on that.
See, most organizations, when we interview people itself, we are only looking at what is their knowledge, what do I want them to do, and do they have that knowledge. So we are only looking at the brain development.
Hmm.
We are not looking at their heart development. So let me start with one of the many such incidents reported with respect to our beloved ex-president Abdul Kalam. When he was in ISRO, some important work had to be completed on a particular day. When one of his subordinates wanted leave, whatever I remember vaguely, some exact details may be missing. So Abdul Kalam listened to him from his heart, and he realized that the team member's wife had a difficult issue to handle, some issue, maybe child was not well or something like that. But he forced him, that this work has to be done. We will handle it in some way. You please be there. So that person continued his work. But when he went home in the evening, he realized that Abdul Kalam himself had been to his house and made arrangement to take care of the child health and whatever was needed. So, this created a very huge relationship between that person's attitude towards organization towards Abdul Kalam. So here he showed his leadership not just in terms of what is required in terms of the brain, but he also brought his heart to the organization, what the person needed at that time. So this is what we mean by someone bringing their heart fully to the place of work. And similarly, people will bring their soul fully into the organization when their highest objective in life matches with the organization's objective to contribute to society.
Wonderful.
See, sometimes, many a times, in IT and organization, all that, they may not like the job. The soul is not there. Satisfaction is not there, but they are working because they get the money they want or more money they want or what, something like that. So in our OD intervention, we help the leadership team to create a massive transformative purpose for the organization or the institution so that all the stakeholders can fully bring their brains, hearts, and soul to the work. This gives ultimate satisfaction to the every team member and dramatically expands the productivity and effectiveness of the organization.
So that means to say, when you are explaining, I felt,
Mm,
the current connection in our professional engagement. Suppose when I
mm,
come to an education institution, it is more transactional. That no,
exactly.
I get salary, I do some work, and
Mm,
beyond this, it's my life, and I have no connection with the institute or organization. That is the way many conversation we hear. But
correct.
when I hear about your explanation about head, heart, and soul, which is total inclusive things, where no, I embrace the organization,
Mm,
and also when I do it for my, not only for my from the brain, I'll also put my heart and soul, such that no, there is a positive impact in the organization and also positive impact on myself. Self, it's also. I don't feel like pressurized and working for the salary or something.
exactly. You brought the right point. So
Yes,
you don't, when what you are doing, you are passionate about, you love it,
correct.
you don't feel you are working more, you don't feel stressed. Whatever number of hours you feel, you enjoy the work.
So, one more point, sir. You also brought the ego to eco thinking. That is also
Mm,
another important material of organization development. One element I heard was bringing head, heart, and soul. The
right.
other part you told is ego to eco thinking. Can you
Mm.
please elaborate on that, sir? Ego to eco thinking.
So this comes from a framework called Theory U, proposed by Dr. Otto Scharmer from MIT Sloan Management School. He has many other things, and this is one of the basic framework is, see, if you look at the major issues in our society now that plagues us living happily is that he divides it into three different what he calls divides. One is the social divide. People are divided in terms of their religion. People are divided in terms of their language. People are divided in terms of their color. People are divided in terms of countries. So this he calls a social divide or rich and poor, like that. And then the second thing he calls is ecological divide, where man is divided or separate from nature, that we deal with nature as something that we can exploit and get whatever we want and we don't bother about it. And the results are obvious. Now there is so much of problems. Somewhere there is a lot of floods, somewhere there is a lot of fire, and somewhere there is no water. And the regular seasonally changes are not happening, and it is affecting us in a very big way. So this is because we don't look at nature as a partner of us, and we are not looking at how it can regenerate itself. See, we can take some things from the trees because trees can again grow. So if we limit it to the extent that they can grow and replace itself, whether it is water or anything. But today, what I understand is the as whole of humanity, we are using 1.8 times the regenerative capacity of nature. That is where the problem is there. And so
Yes.
this is the second ecological divide. The
Yes.
third one is what he calls spiritual or inner divide,
Uh,
where if you really leave me free and no constraints on money or anything, what is it that as all of us, the inner core is pure, they say, and we want to really contribute to people, we want to be loving, that they call it as a higher self. So that higher self will be satisfied if you do those things that really contribute to others. But because we are after money, or we are after fame, or we are after something else, we restrict ourselves to do something that we doesn't give us so much satisfaction. So there is some division between what I want, what I could be as a greatest human being, and what I'm currently doing. This leads to depression, dissatisfaction. Ultimately, it can even lead to suicides. So
mm,
some statistics says that, whether it is India or US, if you look at it, the number of suicides per year is almost equal to the number of people who are dying in the accidents.
mhm,
It's alarming. And in US, they say 20% of the people are has depression, and it is growing. So this is what he calls the inner divide. So there are three divides we talked, and the common these are all symptoms.
mm,
But what is behind that is the ego thinking.
mm,
In social divide, I form a group. The smallest group is I myself. I don't care about anybody else, or my family, and I don't care about the rest of it, or I care about my country. I don't worry what happens to the rest. So whenever you form a boundary and say this is me or us and else, so you are limiting yourself. That's the egocentric thinking. And similarly, ecological thinking is we are the supreme, we can exploit nature. So that's not me. So in every one of things, the current, common current here and all the three divides is egocentric thinking.
mm,
So if we can expand it to ecocentric thinking, where I include everybody, everything, including nature, and my thinking, my work, and my organization, everything is given by that. That's what we call it ecocentric thinking. Can we
wonderful.
expand it slowly towards that?
Wonderful, sir. So, so one of the no meditation experts, when I was discussing about this ego and ego thinking, when you were explaining, that was matching. So, no, he was mentioning, no, once we take birth and as we acquire the brain power in terms of new knowledge from the external world, we will become more egocentric. Okay. As a result
Mm,
of that, our ego thinking, which we came to this universe, is hidden in deep inside.
mm,
When I was slightly not able to follow, he suddenly turned towards a tree and showed me a tree. You see this
mm,
tree is purely ecocentric, he told.
mm,
Is in the purest form. Okay.
mm,
It what purpose it has come to the universe, it gives that to the nature.
mm,
But as humans, we have, from that brain power, we have uh, over time we have covered it so deep inside our ego part, and only ego part we exhibit. Most of the time, that ego prevents us to bring this ego nature.
mm.
That's what he was telling. Somehow I felt the purest form, when, as a self divide, as a purest form, what is that? Of course, in Indian tradition, we call soul and atma and all those things. But just to appreciate that better, he opened it up in one sentence and told you, look at this tree. This is ecocentric. It is in the purest form, he told.
Yeah, I heard it from some other person also.
Ah,
So, see, if you look at a tree,
hmm,
suppose it gives shades,
hmm,
it doesn't look at it, is he white man or a black man?
correct.
Okay, is he Protestant or Catholic?
Hmm,
Is he a
correct.
good man or bad man? Is
Correct.
he rich or poor? It doesn't
Yes.
say anything. What
Correct.
do I get? It doesn't ask. It
Yes.
just gives this thing. Or
Correct.
a river, it gives water to everybody, it purifies everyone.
Correct.
But somewhere, if you look at it, we are also, as human beings, we are also part of nature. Somewhere
Hmm,
we don't realize that. We
correct.
are two-legged animals. So
Correct.
somewhere we lost it,
Yes, yes,
So it is going to get back to being part of nature.
yes, sir, yes. So, Sir, from this discussion so far, see, as an organization development, the focus is on making persons who are part of the organization to bring their head, heart, and soul to the organization. The second part is they operate from the eco thinking perspective rather than the ego thinking perspective, which is currently. So these two are the basic principles, at least at this point of time conversation. I'm thinking, which is makes organization development, focusing differently compared to the other. So just from a general audience perspective, they think this as another management process.
Mm.
I want to understand, sir, how the organization development focus is different from a traditional management perspective practices. For example, traditional management perspective, if you see, even including higher education institutions nowadays, you bring some very senior professor retired from somewhere and he will lead the organization, or some bureaucrat to retired, you may employ him as a campus director, he will handle the things like that. People are moving in that direction, which is more transactional. Okay,
Right.
rather than that, I, I I treat them as some traditional management practices versus how does our organization development practice approaches will be different compared to them.
Like we talked earlier also, the current management practices, whether it is industries or this thing, is all based on, at some level, from the organization point of view, or whoever runs the organization, and it's an egocentric thinking, how to extract maximum from these people. So there is not much heart for the other side. So we look at it holistically. The elements of our OD encounter with the organizations is, one is we look at leadership transformation. So leadership is, where not one person becomes a hero and everybody follows, but it's a, anybody can contribute in the organization. Anybody can provide leadership at some level if they have some useful idea that will make a difference to the overall objective of the organization. And then we look at the transformation of the organizational culture, how people relate to each other. Do they talk to each other beyond their the organizational role, what you called as transaction. And then we also look at co-creation of a competitive long-term strategy, so that things don't change just because one person changes. So when I join the organization also, I'm clear what this organization stands for, and I choose to join or not, this depending on whether it matches with what I want to do in my life. And then we also look at how to implement that strategy using what we call as balance scorecard, derived from the strategy map. And finally, we also look at talent management, how to select. We don't even call them employees, we call them as partners in what you are up to. And how to choose your partners. Everybody in the organization is a partner in what your objective is, what your the massive transformative purpose is. Because without any one of them, you can't achieve it individually. So we look at all of this in a holistic manner, which will lead it to this thing. So the traditional management practices just increase your profit, whatever is your outcome. Where if it is educational institutions, okay, you graduate more number of students or more PhDs. Traditional management is about numbers, whereas the way we look at organization development is how that organization can contribute to the society at large, while it also takes care of its existence, its future, and its own employees and stakeholders.
So while this explanation, sir, few more terms came. One is
Hmm.
co-creation.
Right.
Can you please elaborate on that, sir? What do you mean by co-creation?
See, like, suppose we look at what is the long-term objective of an organization. See, like when you look at the massive transformation purpose of Google, they say organize the world's information for people or something like that. I may not remember the exact word. So, see, if you look at it, they are not saying we want to be the number one person. So there is no egocentric thinking in, at least in this naming of this thing. It's about everybody getting best information possible. So they will organize it in a very effective way so that you will get it better. So there is a clearly social objective there. So that is, but this is not created, it's not some one person's interest. I just want to do it. So everybody, big organization, everybody do it for yourself. So we create what you call the core team, which is the major stakeholders of the organization, maybe the top part of the management and all that. And all of them sit together, they get related, and they come together, they discuss, and in a atmosphere of mutual deep listening, and they together create something that inspires all of them. So that is what we call, it may take, days, it may take months also, but when it is created, everybody owns it. Otherwise, you report to somebody and you are just looking at how to satisfy him, the head of that organization, whether he is MD or director or whatever. Whereas co-creation is, even the objective is created by group of people. So since they create it together, we call it co-creation, and it also automatically helps all of them owning it by their heart.
For example, sir, you take any education institution, higher education institution, there is something they put the vision, mission, like this, some statement, the vision of the institute or something.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned about massive transformative purpose.
Correct.
So, is this massive transformative purpose is same as vision, or is something different in the organization development parlance?
Massive transformative purpose is a very cryptic statement,
Hmm.
which is your ultimate uh, why, that what you are creating that organization for.
Hmm.
But vision is a subset of, vision is born out of this massive transformative purpose.
Hmm.
Vision can be for next 5 years or 10 years,
Hmm.
and under that vision you may have different missions.
Hmm.
For example, see, ISRO may say that I don't exactly know what it is, but their massive transformative purpose is maybe to use the satellite communication technology for the benefit of the Bharati citizens, let us say.
Hmm.
So that's the overall this thing. So under that, there can be specific visions. Okay, we'll put specific satellites for communication, for specific satellites for improving agriculture or improving our defense systems, and under that there can be specific missions.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
this is a overarching thing which does not talk any specifics.
so if we say that, no, sir, while we are explaining, thing coming to my mind was now the our country says our nation should become a Vikasit Bharat in 2047
Mhm.
by 100 years of independence. So that looks to be like a massive transformative purpose for the nation.
In a way, yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
So that is the, and also when we are making that bold statement, we may not have the immediate solution for that, but we
Mm.
aspire for that, and then the whole thing gets geared up for achieving towards that through this organization development process.
Correct.
Okay, okay. So that is the point, sir. Okay, okay. That's so, sir. One thing is, now we discussed about bringing head, heart, and soul, then egocentric to eco thinking, then co-creation means it is not top down. No, for example, as head of the institution, I say, okay, this is to be done, and everybody aligns in the line and does it, and that is then the solution is only just somebody says and everybody else create, rather than that everybody together as a team look at the staring problem and comes up with a collective solution. That is co-creation, sir.
Yes, correct. So, like I
So
said, then only everybody will want it, na? If
yes, yes.
one person says,
Ah,
then somebody may like it, somebody may not like it, but they are forced to do it.
correct, correct.
But if both of us talk together and create an objective, then
Hmm.
both of us are the owners.
Owners. So essentially, you're bringing that ownership element to all the people who are part of the organization.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what are the other basic elements of the organization development principles, sir? For example, you told about balanced scorecard. One is,
Mm,
I also heard about co-creation, massive transformative purpose,
yeah.
then balanced scorecard. Can you please elaborate on that, sir?
See, first thing is we create what is called a strategy.
Hmm.
Strategy is, see, for an education institution, if you look at, we both of us are more familiar with engineering institutions. An engineering institution can do many things. For an organization to be really effective, there should be some clear focus. I'm not saying it should do this or that, but each organization should clearly choose for themselves. So it's a question of choice. So when I make say choice, see like if faculty member may do original research, theoretical research, or they can do applied research, or they can do only industry oriented research, or they may focus only on publications, they may focus only on patents, they may focus only on consultancy which gives them directly money, or they may focus only on research students, or they may focus only on teaching. So you see that there is a wide variety of things that education institution or faculty can do. In that, can you make specific choices? Okay, we will do these things very well, and will not look at these things so that you can focus more.
That is
Because what happens if I say I will do everything, then I don't have enough time and effort, because all human beings have finite time. So if I focus on something, then there's likelihood that I can excel
mm,
and bring out my best and
mm,
bring out the best for the organization also. So that is strategy.
mm,
So very clearly deciding what you will do,
mm,
and very clearly also deciding what all things you will not do. But once you decided that, then in the implementation of that, then you have to clear many initiatives, and you have to evaluate how that initiative was effective in going towards your strategy.
mm,
So from strategy, we come to strategy map. You may look at the finance aspect of it, the organization aspect of it, the talent building aspect of it, systems aspect of it, and all that. And for that, each of that, you may create some initiatives. And once you create an initiative, each initiative may go for a few months or few years and all that. Then you have to also evaluate how that initiative was effective or not. So you have to create some metrics for that. So there is a very systematic approach for this, which is called the balance scorecard. As the name itself says, there is a score which you yourself, for the organization we create, how will we score our own progress towards our objective. And it should be balanced. It should not be only one thing. It should look at all the aspects of it.
apart from, for example, now strategy map you mentioned and the balance scorecard you have mentioned. So when suppose now when you are explaining about the strategy balance scorecard, they are looking more like a general management practices.
Correct.
Okay, but whereas initially we started with no, which is more humanistic means more nature oriented, that had heart and soul as well as those elements. But now already when we are talking about strategy map and balance scorecard, it looks like more management practice. But is it so, or it's slightly different?
Definitely it is how you manage this, but the strategy itself you create inside your massive transformative purpose. So since the
So
very origin is a social objective,
origin is
so
the
we are not saying that we will get maximum profit. Profit will also come out of your activity, where of course organization cannot sustain without profit. But that's not the primary objective. Primary objective is to have a social goal, that is
mm,
massive transformative purpose out in the world.
mm,
Under that, you decide specific activities that you will do and
mm,
specific activities you will not do.
mm,
See, suppose I want to develop the city in which I live. That's my general purpose. So I can improve the pollution levels. I can reduce pollution levels, or I can improve the vegetation so that uh, better things are there, a better atmosphere, or I can improve the quality of the houses so that we use better materials or less cost or something, or I can improve the power. So there are many aspects in which you can improve the what you call the city, no? So, but you can, if you do all of that, then you may not do very well all of that. So you give it to other people to do something else. You choose one or two things which you will do best. That is the strategy.
that is the way it, of course, have no. Ultimately, from the societal point of view and subjective, when we bring it to the implementation level, we may have to bring in some management way. But however, still that social objective is kept in mind and trying to do
Yeah.
further and
Right.
improve. So the next point is, suppose when I told no, the striking point for me is making people or community working in an organization to bring their head, heart, and soul for the organization. But versus the current state of thinking as a transactional. So I have no attachment to the organization. They pay me, I work together. And even when we say this initially, when you have to bring head, heart, and soul for the organization to work, that also may be thought in a doubtful way by the community, saying that no, 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 indirectly they are asking us to work more in the organization. What about our personal lives? What about our other priorities? So that is one of the comments we receive when we tell about that. So essentially, still there in the transactional mindset, when we say that no, 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 you are indirectly telling us to work more in the organization. That is the way they tell. But on the other hand, the real purpose of bringing head, heart, and soul is not only to be happy and peaceful and with positive energy in the organization, but when they go back to their family also,
Yes.
there also, and any interaction they do also should have that head, heart, and soul approach. Maybe can you elaborate on that, sir, if possible, that when they have this mindset, how it helps not only the organization but also their personal lives?
Yeah, very good question. See, these kind of questions are natural because uh, one, we are introducing some concepts new.
Hmm.
It's not normally talked about. So people have some confusion or questions, and because wherever they have seen that management, they see now somehow people bring some new terminology and manipulate them. So the doubt is natural. So it is the onus is on us to explain, like
Correct.
you asked, that how is it going to translate to their personal life. See, if you look at our lives, you know, when I was a professor in IAC and you have been, in IITs and now you are director, you spend much more time as part of your professional life in a day compared to the time, the quality time, at least productive time that you spend it as part of your family, at least on working days, let us say. So, should we not make that place a vibrant place which fulfills me, which gives me happiness as I'm doing the work, and not give me stress? Just I have to do it because I have to get my salary. So that is the whole idea. So what it means, bring your soul and the heart, it's not that okay you bring more of yourself and do the work even though it looks like that. It means that you make it, we will make that organization together in a way that you feel happy in your heart, you feel satisfied in your soul, you get fulfillment out of the work that you do, not only salary and something, but you also get fulfillment as a human being. So when you go back home, you are happy as a human being, and you have a mental attitude that, whether your spouse will be happy to see you, and you will be, better available as a human being to your spouse and your children and your parents, whoever it is. See, normally what happens, if I'm only working for money and I'm not so happy doing that work, then I feel stressed. And when I go back, then I want some peace. So if my wife asks me something, I'm irritated. Leave me in peace. Whereas if my work is satisfying me and fulfilling I go back as a fulfilled human being, then I'm mentally and physically available for other people. So that is what is possible if you really bring it up.
Suppose you are very happy at the soul level on
Hmm.
what you are doing in your professional life, then you are filled with again same energy when you go back home to
Exactly.
spend time with your near and dear ones. Okay, that's a wonderful thing, sir. So now, for example, you also mentioned one point in the last conversation, means in the previous session, that I'm just focusing on a higher education institution and specifically engineering institution.
Sure.
You take one faculty member and he or she is with us for next 30 years, say. And once while taking them into the organization, yes, we look into their academic qualification, how they have done so far well in terms of that, whatever their academic achievements are. Then after that, we leave them just like that to flower up whatever the way they want to do it. Whereas what I heard from some of my industry friends is all the industry colleagues, yes, they also go through the same process that once they take it, but after that, they start reorienting them or training them or upskilling them at regular intervals. They told as a industry, they regularly invest in their human resources for training them or upskilling them, even though that is there as part of education institutions. But from this perspective, that is more from, as you rightly mentioned, from a brain point of view. Now, I'll attend my academic conference to get a new idea to write one more publication or something. I'm least bothered about what happens outside my office, or what happens to my colleague in the next office, or what happens to the department or the institute. Okay, so from that perspective, how does now the process that is being followed by the uh, industry for regular update will be useful from this organization development context?
Yeah, very valid question. See, first of all, I am not very sure whether periodic training is a common phenomenon in all industries. Some of them, yes, but even when they do that training, it is done from a, in my opinion, there may be exceptions, from an egocentric perspective of how to make them more effective so that I can get more for the company, more profit, more sales, more turnover, things like that. So, concerning academia, technology is changing rapidly today. You know how fast this neural networks came and AI came, and every day there are new things. So the faculty members need time and sufficient support to periodically upgrade their knowledge. And then they also faculty members in reputed institutions go through a high degree of stress, and I can say it having some gone through it also. And hence they need to be trained to manage their different responsibilities efficiently to reduce the stress levels. And when we are looking at this head heart this thing, so the training also to, because if I bring my only brain part of it to the organization, it's not personally I'm responsible or accountable, because that is the society in which we live. Without our knowledge, we are brought up by our you know the surroundings like that. So we need to really educate them, and once they realize the importance of it, they will also get it. So this also requires training, because this kind of training is not given in any institution wherever they do PhD in anywhere in the world. Then research today is primarily interdisciplinary also. And most of the time when you do PhD, we work on one area and a very focused, one very small aspect of it, and we become an expert. But when we start working, if especially if we want to do socially impactful research projects, usually it involves multiple domains. So we need to be also trained to collaborate with experts across domains, first within the institute and then outside the institute and maybe outside the country also. So there are many, many aspects of it. We need to look at different faculty will require different things. So we want everybody to flower into great individuals and get their best this thing individually as well as an organization together. So I feel there will be no end to this training.
So, of course, see, generally, as teachers in academia, we
Yeah.
feel that no, we are continuously reading new subjects and going and teaching.
Mm.
So, accordingly, we are up to date about the field knowledge. I don't require any, update or something. But when you are telling from an organization development of view, again, I will quote that point. No, you are telling that is only from my brain point of view.
Exactly.
But the other two dimensions are so important from an organization development point of view, that heart part and soul part, that gradually decreases
Mm.
in an exponential way. Where, sir, especially experiences are, we don't even know meet and greet a colleague in the next office.
Mm.
Okay. Uh, so we are so much deeply engrossed in our brain related activities. As a result of that, the positivity in the environment dries down quickly. So that
Correct.
is where that emphasis of the organization development from that heart and soul point of view not only helps the organization but also helps them also.
Yes, most of us, well educated, some good institutions and so on, because of the surroundings also, we keep improving our knowledge. But if you ask me the question, my improved knowledge, whether it is totally reaches my students and the society, I doubt. There, the heart is required. I know some people who have extraordinary knowledge, much better than my knowledge, I know. But when they talk, when they give a talk in public or when they take a class, they want to show their knowledge. See, it says the results of your interactions with people is fully depend on your interior state. Why I am doing what I am doing. If my giving a talk is to show my knowledge and impress upon you, in fact, suppress you, then there is not much advantage out of my knowledge to others. Yeah, you will clap your this thing, you may give me an award, but it does not give much to others. But if my heart is involved, then I want to bring it to that level of the student. As you know, there are students that are of different. Some people will be very capable, some people not so much, some people have less thing. Can I bring my teaching and my delivery in such a manner that everybody benefits? So, which is a different aspect that is purely heart, and any amount of bookish reading and undergoing regular training or conferences and symposia and workshops will not give you that. So it's a different really.
Oh, that's what. Oh, wonderful, sir. That's a very good point that you brought that out. So otherwise, most of the conversations and a professional setting, it goes in that way to show how much I am better
Mm,
versus you.
exactly.
So that is where you should honor me or give me award and something.
Mm,
So that is the okay. So that is very very no revealing point. Um, sir, but still no. Again, I'm coming to my academic colleagues.
mm.
They are deeply engrossed in their research or something, no, or teaching, whatever, and they don't feel like there is no need for such this heart and soul in the work. So, do you have any additional suggestions there?
So, like I said, no, anything new, because I have never thought about it. Because if you look at any traditional education, the best of educations give you better knowledge. It does not talk of. I don't think even MITs or Stanford talks about heart and soul. They have better professors, better technology, better this thing. So they may give you better knowledge compared to some of our institutions.
Hmm.
But still, the absence of heart and soul,
Hmm.
I have not never heard of this till I came to management innovation. So this is a new conversation. Any new conversation, people will look at it a little skeptically because they don't know what it is and they don't know how it's going to benefit. I think I have told you this also earlier. In one of the statistics, they have found that next to managers in India, the most stressful this thing is academics. It's a
Oh,
very surprising thing when I read
oh,
that. So the heart issues, heart surgeries and all that is very high in academics. So that is because of whatever you are saying. I have myself gone through that. In all these big, great institutions, everybody is PhD from X, Y, great universities, and without our own knowledge and the way we are brought up, there is inevitably comparison, jealousy.
hmm.
So, in spite of whatever I have done, I'm never satisfied. So there is always some internal stress, and which is leading to all this other health issues. If we parallelly develop that as well as this heart and soul, then not only my individual productivity will improve, but my as a productivity as an institution or the department itself will improve, because now I will be much more oriented and facilitated to do collaboration with others, and we can do better and more. and but I will also be satisfied, and I am sure I can give you in writing that there will be less visits to the heart specialist.